Okay, take two. Please tell me this is right. Testing 1, 2, 3. We had to stop before. I've just checked it. Let me know if anyone is in the live chat whether this was okay at the beginning. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. Hopefully it's all okay now. I'll just play the intro while everyone gets back in.
Young, and we didn't want to be exposed. Even though it was cold, we were never wearing proper clothes. Always trying to be cool, trying to be those bad guys, smoking cigarettes behind the school. Always trying to be cool, trying to be those bad guys, you know. I still think about what we had when we were younger. We were never running out of time. As long as we had each other, everything was black and white. Driving in a car, never knowing how far we go. When we were younger, when we were younger, I remember a girl. I would sneak into her parents' house. I could stay for hours, and we looked into each other's eyes. Hey, I thought I was Romeo, I was looking for my Juliet. And as soon as I left, I told my friends. Those days made me who I am. When we were younger, we were never running out of time. As long as we had each other, everything was black and white. Driving in a car, never knowing how far we go. When we were younger, oh, when we were younger. When we were younger, we were never running out of time. As long as we had each other, everything was black and white. When we were younger.
So I'm hoping the audio is spot on now. Now, let me look. I'm going to clap for you guys because we're restarting it. 1080 at the moment. I tried 4K a minute ago, but I don't think that was the issue. It was something else that was wrong. What happened yesterday, I had to take the whole thing apart to do a YOLO box review. Let me just move this monitor out the way a little bit. So I'm going to clap and let me know if it's perfectly in sync now or close. So testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Does it look like it's right in sync, or is the audio a little bit delayed? Let me know in the chat because I can move it now, I think, because I think I've worked out what went wrong. So I'll just wait for a chat to come up and see what people are saying. I will try again. I want to do 4K through Ecamm. I'm using Ecamm Live at the moment. I tried a 4K test a minute ago, but it was so it looks like it's okay. So I tried Ecamm Live on 4K, and I thought that was what was causing the issue, but it wasn't. It was actually I'd selected the wrong audio driver. I'd selected one of the other Blackmagic devices I've got attached. So everyone's saying that it's okay now anyway, so that's good. All right, so back to the beer. It's been nearly 12 months since I've had one of these on the show because it's been awful. So I'm going to get back to the Corona now with you guys. Here we go. It's quite funny because all the Americans and stuff are getting into winter, and we're getting into summer. So it's time for me to start having drinkies again like I used to. Here we go. Hang on. Are you waiting? I'll do the ASMR drinking thing here. You ready? Here we go. Because you're going to hear it. Really, this is so cool. Hang on. Hang on. I've got to watch I don't spill that, because that'll be the thing I do. I'm going to spill it for sure. Well, at least the audio's right now. If I have a bit more of that drink, I'll be dancing on the table shortly, so just stay tuned for that. Yep, Corona time. I forgot to put a lemon in it, or a lime. I should have done that. I might have to do that next week when I'm getting stuck into it again. So how are we all? If you haven't seen the video I posted yesterday, I did a review of a Yellowbox, amazing little device that streams all from the unit itself. And I think that's why I had issues today, because I had to pull my whole desk apart and change everything. And then I thought everything was back to normal, but it wasn't. You know me, I'm always trying different things and everything else. But, oh, well, whatever. So we're here. Look, there's not much news today, but I've got a couple of things, a couple of rumours and stuff which are going to be interesting to share with you guys. Then we'll do some Q&A as well. If it goes as long as it goes, if it only goes for half an hour or so, it'd still be fine. This time of year, everything starts to go quiet due to Christmas coming along and stuff like that. But let me just say who's here. We'll say hello to everyone. I love John's comment here. He said, David Oasley, you're like my dad, had to have the latest and greatest piece of technology, laugh out loud. You like I'm also wearing the Sony T-shirt again. Hang on. Let me see if I can get rid of this for a minute. Oh, hang on. I can't get rid of it. Here we go. Look. Woohoo! Type A personality. So, yeah, I do love technology, John. I have to admit I'm a sucker for it. I really am. Who else is here? Heath said 1080p this week. Yeah, I tried 4K. I will try 4K again now next week, because I think it looks like the computer didn't even sweat. It just depends on whether YouTube can take it or not, I suppose. Saying the audio's okay, so that's good. All good now. That's better. You heard it saying in sync. I just put a video up and then I had to cancel it because it looked, it was about 3 seconds out. It was crazy. Looks solid. Jeff said, hi, you're in sync. Hi from Pennsylvania. Corona. I wonder if I can put some echo on. Hang on here. Wait a second. Here we go. Wait a sec. Is this going to be it? Now, you ready for this? Testing. Oh, it's not working. Why isn't that working? Oh, hang on. Echo. You ready? Oh. You ready for this? This is the Corona Show. Got to pause it. You know what? If anyone's coming in here for the first time, they're going to think this Aussie is an absolute lunatic. They're going to think, what the hell is this guy on? Oh. Hi from PA2. 9 Coronas you're saying I should be drinking. Need to try some whiskey, John. It's good no matter what time of the year you're in. John said, hello from New York City. Did I miss much? No, we've just started, John, so it doesn't really matter. That is a new MacBook Pro, right? Which one did you get? Look, I got the maxed out 14-inch one. So I was talking to Altric, one of our subscribers this morning, about he was looking at getting a new MacBook. And he said, why did I choose the 14 over the 16? Well, the reason why is I have a 16-inch MacBook that is in the other studio, actually. It's in the green screen area. Oh, now I'm burping, doing bee burps. So the thing was, with that, I hated traveling with it. Like, I really hated it because it was so big and heavy and everything else. So I thought this time I'd buy something smaller. And the 14-inch is perfect for me. Now, when I'm on doing this with using the 14-inch, it's connected to monitors anyway, so it doesn't matter what size screen that is. And I think the 14-inch is the perfect size for me to go travelling. Yes, I mean, you do lose the extra little bit of room, that the 2 inches, and we know it's terrible if you've lost 2 inches. But the 14-inch is perfect for me, and Kerry's very happy with the 14 inches as well. I'm going to stop drinking beer. So I'm happy with it. So I spec'd this 14-inch completely up. Apart from the hard drive, I took 2 terabytes instead. It'll go up to 8 terabytes, but I did get the max version of it, and I also got 64 gigabytes of RAM. And like I said, the only thing I went down on was the RAM, the hard disk storage space. But I have got an NVMe drive that I'll show all the setup soon, but I've bought an NVMe drive that's a 2 terabyte Thunderbolt drive. It's an LACE drive that I'm running my extra files off, so I've got that as well. So that's the reason why I've got the 14-inch. I love the form factor of this size. I think this is terrific. I love the screen. I really love everything about it, and honestly, I cannot believe the power that is coming out of this. I still have my Mac Mini. It's actually just down here. It's down there, and I'm going to be using that for other things as well when I'm doing lives and stuff like that, and I want to bring in chats a different way. So I've got that as well. But yeah, that's the reason why I went with a 14-inch, and I absolutely love it. I think I'm so happy I made that decision, because when I do travelling now, and I have to take it with me, I won't mind, whereas I used to hate carrying that 16 around. But it's all a personal choice. We are all techno weenies. Yeah, I know. Bill's on brandy. Oh, nice, Bill. David is making us wish the audio wasn't working. Laugh out loud. Why is that? I don't know. What's wrong with that? Let me just come back to here. I'm just checking stream settings, and yep, everything's looking fine. So what we'll do now is we'll just go and go to the first news story, because like I said, there's not that much today, but we've got a little bit to talk about. So let me bring up this, and let's have a look at the story that we're going to have a look at. Let me quit that one. Now, I'm going to go through this one first. So there's wild rumours this week coming up talking about an a7r5, which is really interesting. It's saying here about these rumours, I have no idea who sent them. 90% of the times they turn out to be wrong. I mean, it's probably not really if you think about it, because I don't think they're giving a timeline, but the specs are interesting. But it happened in the past that a couple of these were right. So I'll post them today. Now, the first one, what they're saying here is source one is saying the a7r5 might have 8K 30. In Super 35, though, that's what they're saying, this first one. No 4K 60, just 30. Now, that is a bit odd. I would definitely think that the a7r5 would have 4K 60. That doesn't make sense to me, but I'll let you know what you think about that one, and then I'll talk about these in a minute. But they're saying the next source is saying the FX9 has the FX6 style body. This is the new one, with the same 61 megapixel CMOS as the a7r5, providing oversampling of 8K 30p full frame only, oversampling of 4K 60 full frame and Super 35. Source 3 here is saying that the a7r5 has 8K 30. So that's two sources that are saying that it's going to have 8K 30. Source 4 is saying the 100mm f1.4 GM. Now, we've been talking about this for ages because this has been rumoured for over 12 months, so I'm surprised that it hasn't even been announced yet. I'm pretty sure that this probably will come out. There's been, I think there was patents released and all these other things that came out with this. So I think it is only a matter of time before they do release this lens. And they're saying it's going to be about $1,599. That'd be US, and weigh 950 grams. It will be the most light lens like this. Macro feature will be available too. So they're saying you'll be able to shoot fairly close with this as well. I know a lot of people are really interested in this. I love my 135. That's obviously an f2.8. This will be incredible, though, if you can get up to 100mm and shoot at f1.4. It will be really quite beautiful. I did try from Sigma the 105 f1.4, and I loved it. I thought that was amazing, but it was a massive honking lens. So this one obviously is going to be a lot lighter and, smaller, I would think. Sony seem to be able to do the voodoo now with the size of the lenses that they bring out, that they are quite small and light. So it looks like this will be a terrific one. I don't think it'd be one that I would purchase because really, for me, I love the 135 focal length, and I probably would still stick with that. I'd be more interested in getting a new 85 GM 1.2, which I'm hoping that Sony bring out. I've got an inkling that that's one lens that they are going to do. I don't think it'll be a 1.4. I think it'll be a 1.2. So I think, look, the main lenses that I tend to use are the 24 GM. I'll then use the 135 and also the 85 Batis. I've had the 85 Batis since release, and I still love it. I think it's still the only 85 that has image stabilization in it. So I use that all the time, but I would love to get the Canon equivalent of the 85 1.2. So for me, I think if I was looking at getting a new lens, I probably wouldn't get the 100. I would get the 85, which I'm pretty sure will be updated. Now that Sony have done the 70-200, I think the next lens that comes out will be the 24-70. I think that'll be the next upgrade that they do. And then after that, it could be anything. I mean, this 100mm has been rumored for ages. So, but it's an exciting lens if you'd like that sort of focal length. Sometimes I do have issues because I so adore using the 135, but I can't use it sometimes indoors due to the fact that it's just too long a focal length. So the 100 would be much better in that regard. But I think I'd still probably prefer an 85 over that. But that's, like I said, that's just a personal thing that I have. I'm sure that a 100 f1.4 will sell amazingly, Long Rider, thanks so much. Mostly you're up to no good. Thanks so much for the donation, though, mate. Really appreciate it. So what do you think about the a7r5? I'm not surprised by that rumour at all. I mean, I would think that it's going to come, definitely. I also think it probably will have 8K 30. That does not surprise me at all. But I think there's no way they will release that without it doing 4K 60 as well. That to me would be just a stupid move. Cheers, everyone. So that would just be a stupid move. And, I don't think that they would do that, but we'll just have to see. But I mean, it's interesting, and it's particularly interesting that two people have said it had 8K 30. I mean, at the moment, the only one that can do 8K is the A1. Now, it doesn't surprise me if you think about it that Sony would release another camera that can do 8K 30 because the A1 has then been out for a long time, and they probably will have to compete with Canon and Nikon and people like that. So, I think this is probably a safe move to sort of think what they're going to do with that camera, and I really think that makes sense. Like I said, the only thing that doesn't make sense to me is the 4K 60. It would have to have 4K 60, surely. That would be crazy if it doesn't have that. Another rumor they're saying here too is there's going to be an FE 150-400 f4 lens too. What do you think about that? f4 doesn't bother me at those long focal lengths because everything's going to be blown out. The further you go in your distance, f4, even 5.6, will throw the whole background out of focus. So having an f4 lens at that focal length would not worry me at all. I suppose it might worry some sports shooters who work in low light. They might need to use f2.8 due to the low light, but I don't deal with that. So I'd love to know in the chat what you think about that. So let me know what you think. Let's go to the next one here. Now, this is a really interesting rumour because Tamron have patented a new 90mm f2.8 FE lens. They're saying down here that we do know that the Sony 90 macro lens is actually a really good lens. It's probably one of Sony's sharpest lenses, but it is a little bit slow in focusing. So I think the Tamron version would be incredible, judging by what I've used in the previous lenses that are coming out now. They're saying the focal length is 88-500. F value is 2.9. I don't know why these are varying. What's it saying? Half angle of 13. I'm not sure what all these figures mean. I don't know. But I think this will be really quite interesting if you look at it from that regard. I mean, the thing with Tamron at the moment, the two lenses that I am just absolutely stunned with was the 35 to 150 that I used just recently. That is definitely one of the best lenses that I've ever used on the Sony platform. Plus, the 28 to 75, the version 2, I think was even better. That's just what I believe from using it. The beauty, though, with the 35 to 150 is you get that range, that you can go right up to 150, and it gives you stunning portraits at 2.8. Which is terrific. Or if you want to then say go down for low light, you've got f2. But it's incredibly sharp and everything else, and focus in those lenses now is nuts. So I think the days of sort of thinking that you have to buy Sony are sort of gone now. You can get really good lenses with Tamron and also Sigma. They both make great lenses, and the GM lenses obviously are fantastic. I mean, I love my 135 and I love the 24 GM that I've got. But the 90mm macro may interest me because at the moment, I've only got some I do have the Sony 35 macro. I think it's the 35. If it's a variable aperture one. So I've got that, but I wouldn't mind a longer macro so that I don't have to get so close to the subject or the, the rings and stuff like that. I only use macro for wedding photography, where I use it for rings and detail and things like that. But the 90mm macro is also a great portrait lens. So I know the Sony one is. So this probably would also be a terrific macro lens as well. But it's just another one that you look at that you think, wow, it's a really interesting thing that Tamron are doing. They're sort of releasing all these incredible lenses at the moment. It probably will also focus very good. I'd say more than likely it'll have the linear focus motors that they put in them, or the latest focusing that they use, which is super silent and super good for video as well. So if that's the case, this will be probably quite an exciting lens. Last story before we go to Q&A. Like I said, it's very limited today in news, but we can spend a little bit of time on Q&A if you like, or we can have an early day. It doesn't matter. Capture One about to launch an iPhone app for capture and editing. Now, I'm not sure whether this will come with Capture One 2022, whether you'll have to pay for this as an extra. Like, I know Photoshop has versions of Lightroom and Photoshop that you can use because you're already subscribed to Adobe. So I'm hoping this is the same, that it will work all together. I have changed from Lightroom to Capture One, so I have gone over completely to Capture One now. But they're saying, I think, that it's going to be announced soon. Capture One users can look forward to HDR and panoramic stitching coming in Capture One 2022, which is due in December. I've already paid for my update for Capture One 22, so I have already paid for that already. I pay the yearly one, and so I'm not subscribing. I just pay for the perpetual license. That's what I do. I've got a feeling that they may end up getting rid of that, and it might just go to subscription-based services, but who knows? I mean, at the moment, I'm just paying for that, but I love it. So I can't wait to sort of see this. And that was one of the things that were missing, was the HDR, and also the panoramic stitching was missing from it. So, that's good that that's coming up. I'm just seeing if they mention anything else. I'm just seeing if there's anything else that's sort of mentioned here, because I just saw this morning. Obviously, it'll work on an iPad as well. No, there's not much else. I'll put these down below so that you can have a look anyway. It's just saying down here, was not able to provide a timeline for when photographers could expect an iPhone app, though given how quickly the company has been able to build out the iPad app for beta release in early 22, it should not be that much longer. So obviously the beta is already out for the iPad. I should see if I can get a version of that, actually. So, that's interesting. I was always sort of thinking about whether I'd change to Capture One or stay in Lightroom. So I made a decision when I actually got the M1 Mac. That's when I decided to change over. So I did switch completely over to Capture One, and I love it. I find that the images, with just the normal processing, without you doing anything to it, look much better than what I was ever getting in Lightroom. They may have improved it since, I don't know, but I definitely noticed a difference with how it worked with my Sony files. I have only got the Sony version of it, so I can't put another camera in there, which is an issue. So but I'm only shooting with Sony cameras anyway. So yeah, it's great. And I love the color controls. I love the masking. I love everything about it. It's super fast. So yeah, I'm glad that I made the switch over. It took a bit of time because I found it was much more complex than using Lightroom. And there's still a few things that I find with weddings, it's much easier to rename multiple files and do certain things in Lightroom than it was in Capture One. For instance, if I had to change the time or something because one of the cameras was out, I find it's much easier in Lightroom than it is in Capture One. So there are certain things that are good, but I just love the files that come out of it, so I'll be staying there now. So let's open it up to Q&A. So if you have any questions at all, guys, fire away. Otherwise, it's going to be a quick show, although it's 25 minutes, so it might just be that we only go for half an hour or so. So let me see what people are saying down here. Where were we up to? Whiskey, we went past. Talking about the Mac, I think Moving Matt said, that looks awesome. I think I have essentially the same spec, but in the 16 coming. My wife won't let me lose the extra 2 inches. Yeah, Kerry's just used to the losing the extra 2 inches, so it won't matter. Agreed on the 85 1.2. Mr. Millett said, yeah, I know. Look, that is really one lens that I've been chasing for ages. I've been so envious of the Canon 85 1.2. It just looks so buttery smooth. So I would love to have that lens, and also being able to work in low light scenarios and things like that would be just brilliant. It really would. Thanks so much, Longer Ida, for the super chat. Really appreciate that. Stephen said, my lens dream is the 24GM. He's got that already. I know. How good is that lens? That stays on my a7R5 almost permanently. It's on there now. It's just so good how that works. And you're saying already that the 50GM and the 100GM and 135GM. Well, interesting. So you say you'd like the 100 and the 135, Stephen. The 135 I adore. I mean, I really do adore the 135. It is just, it's just so good. If it were up to me, I would love to see GPS on the a7R5. Yeah, I agree. That would be great if you could get that. Not a big deal for studio or wedding photographers, but a very nice thing to have for landscape work. Exactly, because you can pinpoint exactly where you are, and I think that would be good. Just poured myself a nice, what's that? Zinfandel California variety red wine. Wow, that sounds interesting. I know that California makes good wines too, like the Aussies do. The Australian wines are really good. I suppose the Californian ones are really nice too. The Tamron 28-75 G2 was on sale for $1,250 AUD at DigiDirect the other day, and I nearly bought one. Wow, that's a good price. I think eventually, Stephen, I probably will upgrade that. I just can't at the moment because, like I said, we've only just come out of lockdown, and I've got my first wedding actually next week. But even then, it's only weddings that have been sort of transferred, so I've only got one wedding for this year until the end of the year. So because everything has been postponed, now I'm hoping that things pick up for next year. I'm sure they probably will. But because I haven't had that many weddings and, things like that, I just don't want to buy much gear at this stage. But I think when I get the money, after using that 28-75, I'll definitely sell my other one and get that one. It's just so good, Stephen. It's brilliant. It is so much better. It's faster focusing. It's much sharper. I thought the 28-75 already was really sharp, but once you've used that second version, and it's buttery smooth, the out of focus, the rendering in the skin tones is so much nicer. Check out my review and you'll see what I mean. What else have we got? Danny. G'day, Panda. Good to see you in here, buddy. Tamron is on a roll. I know how good are they at the moment. Of course you paid for your update, David. My loop deck does not work with Capture One yet. Oh, it worked on mine, which is interesting. I don't know why, Stephen. It came up on mine. I'm sure it did the other day. I've got the loop deck. What is it? The one with the dial on it. It's the higher ended one. But I'm sure that came up the other day and it was working fine. Rob said HDR and panoramic stitching I have been included on one photo for years. Yeah, no, I don't know why they haven't put that in, Rob. I don't understand. It's a bit crazy. On one is really good. I see that you are drinking. Yep. I need one. It's been a long time for me. John said, Adobe just released a major update to Lightroom and ACR. Big enhancements in masking. Yeah, I did see that, and it did sort of make me think, oh, I'd like to try it. The Capture One masking is pretty good too. It is Corona, Panda. Yeah, it is Corona. Oh, my Panda. It's been a while for me. I spend most of my money on new clothes and winter boots. Yeah, I know. Panda got robbed. It was awful. They took all his clothes and everything else. So sorry about that, buddy. Just picked up like a new A9 for $2K. Wow. It was purchased new 3 months ago, and he wanted an A7 IV. God. See, that's incredible. When you think, this is Australian dollars, which is crazy. I paid $7,000 for my A9. When you think what you can get now for $2,000 is unbelievable, if you think you can get a really good used A9 for that sort of price range, is nuts. Congratulations, Long Rider. Anyway, that's amazing. I'm sitting on the corner of East 12th Street and 1 Avenue. If anyone from New York City want to keep me company. Pandas, I'm in Coney Island. Hertz said Sony better come out with a 85 1.2 before Sigma, Tamron or Samyang does. Yeah, well, I think they probably will, but who knows? I mean, Tamron seem to be putting out lenses like crazy. It's nuts at the moment. I mean, and plus the lenses they're bringing out are so good. Sorry, I'm never getting rid of my RX lenses. Yeah, I know, you love that so much. Camera body, come and go, but my RX lenses will always stay with me. And that's the thing that I've found too, that, it's interesting because the bodies you do sell, and that's the thing that people have to understand too, that your camera bodies tend to be... You do get rid of them much more than lenses. Like a lot of lenses you'll buy, you will sometimes have them for life. And that's one of the great things with that. Look, sometimes they'll bring out amazing updates. Like I think the 28-75 is probably worth an update. But there's nothing still wrong with the original 28-75, the Tamron lens. Even, I suppose, if you say the 24-70... Sony GM lenses and also the 70-200 did need updating, because if you look at, say, what the 70-200 is now, if you check the reviews out, I think Tony Northrup did a review the other day showing it, and he gave the 70-200 GM now the best lens out of between Canon and also Nikon. But it does seem to be that they're giving massive improvements now between version 1 and, the version 2s of these lenses. But if you have a good lens, like, say, for instance, the 135, I mean, I'll probably keep that forever. I probably will never, ever get rid of that. I don't think I'll ever get rid of my 24 GM. Bodies, they may come and go, but those lenses I'll sort of have forever. California wine is not as good as Oregon wine. Oh, interesting. Shall I buy the a7 IV or wait for the a7r5? It depends on whether you need the file size, MJ. I mean, if you don't, I would just get the a7r4. Although they may be similar in file size. I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say. There was rumours coming out that it's going to be 100 megapixel file size. I think you'll find that the a7r4, if you're not in a hurry, I would wait to see. Because it probably will be a much better camera. I mean, if you can deal with, say, I'm sure it will have a 4K 60p. So you'll get that 4K 60p out of this. You'll also get better focusing. The A7R4 is good, but this will be much better. It'll have the new menu system built in. It'll have all that sort of stuff. So, it's going to be a much, much better camera. It'll have the CF Express fast cards in there, the A. So it will be a much, much better camera. It just depends on if you need the camera now, just get it. And you're also talking about the new screen there. I'm sure the A7R5 will have the new screen as well. If you're not in a hurry, I would wait. But if you need it now, you just need it now. Get it and just enjoy it. Thank you for watching my trailer. Yep, it was a great video. Panda, it was well shot. Movie Matt gave a donation too. $5 from Movie Matt. Thanks so much, mate. I just wanted to send you some support and tell Long Rider I'm sorry. He knows why. What's that about? I love it. Everyone seems to talk about the 24-70 or similar focal length, but I find that the 24-105 has so much more flexibility. If someone would make it a 2.8. Yeah, well, this is interesting. I agree with you. There's nothing wrong with the 24-105 as well. That is a terrific lens, and it's a terrific travel lens. And I think it's also a very underrated lens as it is. It just depends on whether, I suppose, Sony may eventually bring out a 2.8 version. I mean, we know it's possible. I mean, Tamron have bought out that 35 to 150, so we know it's possible. But that is a great focal range if you want to go from a wide to a decent zoom. I think, though, who knows? They might bring out a 2.8 version GM. It's quite possible, that's for sure. But I definitely think the 24-105 is an underrated lens. It's a great video lens too. 2000 for a good camera these days is so much better than the early 2000s. I agree about the 24-105, but a 2.8 version will be humongous. Yeah, see, that's the thing. It would be really big. I noticed, though, when I was trying the Tamron lens, the 35 to 150, it wasn't that bad. Like, it certainly could lug that around at a wedding and not really worry about it because you've got that one focal length. You know, you can change between like a wide angle right up to 150. So it's worth it. But if you're going down to 24... yeah, it may be a big honking lens, and that's probably that may be one of the reasons why they don't bring it out. Panda said Oregon is my jam. I'm not sure what that means. I love Oregon State he's talking about, so that's probably a wine. Captain JC said, I wish Sony comes out with a 16mm 2.8, like the new RF lenses for Canon. That will be a godsend for my vlogs. The 16 to 35 2.8 is getting heavier the older I get. Yeah, and look, I can understand what you're saying there because... I do love the fact that I can take around the Sony a7S3 and hold the 24 GM on that lens basically all day. And that's one other reason why I love the 28 to 75 too, because it's just such a light lens and it's got a great sort of focal range and everything in it. I completely understand what you're saying. As you get older, you start to get a sore back. This is one of the reasons why I got rid of my, the Nikon D4S that I had. Cheers. So I can completely understand what you're saying there. If you're lugging it around for a long time, particularly if you're doing travel, it's so hard if you have, if you've got lenses that are just so big and it starts to hurt your back at the end of the day and everything else. And I can understand that. Some people don't mind it though. Bill said Washington State wine is also very good. What is your guess on the a7r4 announcement? Well, probably, I don't think it'll be before March. So that's my guess at this stage. I think it'll sort of be announced about March. Like I said, there was rumours it was going to be 100 megapixel. I'm not convinced about that now. But I do, like I said, I do believe it's going to have... It might be in the same range of megapixels that's already there, but obviously it will have the better screen. Well, it'll have the same version as the A7A version that's out. It'll also have, like I said, the new menus. It will have the new card slots that go into there. It'll have much, much better focus. With the much better tracking, things like that. So it's going to be superb in that regard. I do believe it will have 4K 60, so you're going to have a big bump for that as well. So I think it's going to be quite a big substantial improvement over the previous version. You'll also get better dynamic range and things like that as well, and low light probably. But I think probably around March. John said. I'm waiting for my RF 16mm to come in. Now, that 16 that you were talking about before, I agree. It would be great to have a wide-angle 16 light. If you... 16 is a great vlogging lens. That's a great lens to, say, put on a full-frame camera and have a really decent size vlogging lens like that. The 16 to 35 GM is terrific, but I agree with you. It is also quite a heavy lens as well. I mean, it's a great lens, but yeah, it is big and heavy. If they brought out a 16 millimeter GM or whatever, it would be terrific. I agree. So John is saying that his RF 16 millimeters to come, no ETA. I'm likely a couple of months away. Camera stuff is getting longer and longer. What was that for? I think it was my daughter talking. What's it saying there? Camera stuff is now getting longer and longer. Like I think that I read in last week's live show that they were saying that the Sony a7S now is into January before you could even get it. It may even be a bit longer now. We know Apple, it's taking an awful long time to get stuff now as well. So it's taking longer and longer to get this stuff. So I think a lot of it's to do with the supply chain and also the lack of the electronics that they just can't get. It's a real problem. So I'm not sure how long things are going to take any longer. Cars, look at cars. It can take 6 to 8 months to get a decent car now. Osler Moving Matt has a fun channel. Gave him a shout out, but he looks like an Amish farmer. Oh, I've watched his channel before. It's cool. What else? Let me just check down here. The painter photography, you're going to have to explain that to David. I sold my Canon EOS R that used for my vlogs to get the a7S3. Okay, so you sold your EOS R, okay. I wish Sony will come out with something lightweight. The 14 1.8 is too heavy for my pocket. What else have we got? Just going down because a few people are talking amongst each other there. Like the lighting, David Osler, the mood is set right. Oh, thanks, Panda. And that's it, I think. Let me just check down here, see what people are saying there. Yeah, they're all saying it's winter. It's getting cold out there now. Yeah, I know. Well, it's like I said, we're the opposite seasons here. So while you guys are starting to get cooler, unless you live in Florida or something, I suppose, or California, we're going into summer. So it's this is the best time over here. What's that? The IRIX haven't replaced my polarizer. It's been 2 months. Wow. I know, look, everything's taking a long time to sort of fix now. Took 3 months from Adorama to ship my Giazzo giant tripod. I know, it's awful. Like, the time that you take, because you're excited when you pre-order, and then you've got to wait months, sometimes takes the shine out of things. So, it is a little bit of a shame that sort of happens. There's nothing you can do about it, I suppose. Everyone has that issue. My daughter just bought a Porsche, and it took her about 8 months to get that car delivered, which was crazy when you think about it. Like, you've got to wait that long for it to be built and sent over here. But yeah, it eventually got out here. But the chip shortage and everything else, the silicon shortage is causing major problems with everything. Like I said, it's cars, it's cameras, it's any electronics and things like that. They're becoming very, very hard to get. So, there's nothing we can do about it. You just have to wait. But I mean, I think in really some regards, Sony have done quite well. I mean, I did read somewhere that they're going to start building their own chips and stuff now in Japan. So they're going to set up a big chip manufacturing in Japan. So that may alleviate some of those issues that they've got there as well. So hopefully, but they are saying the chip shortage will be around for at least another 12 months. So it's going to be a while. Samyang has a 14mm 2.8 FE lens for Sony. And what's that like? Is it a good focusing lens? I'm just curious. Captain JC said, I have the 24 1.4 amazing lens, and it probably is the only lens that will remain in my camera bag for a long time. But for vlogging, 24 is just not wide enough. Yeah, I know, it is. Like I said, it's an issue if you're doing vlogs. It's not quite wide enough. That's right. And that's about it. We're at the end of the show, so it's only been a quick one, but it's been fun anyway. At least I've got the audio working on this one. If you haven't checked out my previous video, I did do one yesterday talking about the yellow box. Have a look at it just to sort of check. If you haven't seen my Tamron lens reviews, I've put both lens reviews up, which is the 35 to 150 and also the 28 to 75. I took it out on real shoots. So, have a look at that, because unlike a lot of reviewers, I just take it out and shoot it like you guys would shoot it. And it's the best way, I think, of actually seeing how it is. Evermore Media has just come in as well. How are you, buddy? We're just about finishing though. David, your daughter should have bought a CPO. That is how I bought my Porsche. Took it home the day I bought it with a better than new car warranty. You can't. Is that like buying second hand though? They haven't got any here. That's the issue. New. It's interesting. I watched a story on the news last night, and they were saying that used cars are actually being sold for more than what a new car is at the moment here in Australia because they just cannot get new cars. So. New car, sort of second-hand cars that are good are actually selling for more than what a new one is. It's nuts at the moment here. Panda said, anyone running out of power, if anyone would like to keep me company, I'm always be at East 12th Street. So he's there. Last one, any new Sony macro lens coming? Just the, I mentioned the Tamron 90mm, looks like it's going to be coming out. Hurt said, Ford is bringing a new chip plant in the US with global foundries. That's cool. And I think that's what has to happen. You know, countries have to start building their own. That's for sure. Certified pre-owned. Yeah. Well, like I said, you just can't even get them here. That's the issue. There's nothing there, you know. David is worth watching and running out of power. Ha. All right, guys. Thanks so much for this. I'm going to go and get some lunch, actually. It's my lunchtime here. So apart from that, everyone, I'll see you all in the next video. Bye, everyone.